Welcome back. As we earlier said, that the Cabinet approved a draft law amending some provisions over the investment law and granting incentives, facilities, and of course, empowerment for the industrial projects. Of course, the incentives include a lot of facilities for these particular projects that aim at developing with industry. And we're very delighted to be having with us Mr. Abdul Latif Wahba, the journalist and economic analyst. Good morning, Mr. Abdul Latif.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Fine.
First, we need to learn more about the provisions that were amended in the investment law.
During the last cabinet, the Egyptian government approved some incentives for foreign and Egyptian and Arab investment in Egypt. This, of course, is to attract them to expand their investment in Egypt, to increase it at the same time. The cabinet approved, as you said, some incentives for the investors. As exempting from some other rules like tax income and so on, if they increased and expanded their investment in Egypt during the coming 5 years. And this, of course, the most important step to attract the foreign direct investment in Egypt. As you know, that according to the Central Bank of Egypt, according to the planning ministry, Egypt during the last fiscal year managed to increase or to attract about 11 billion US dollars as foreign direct investment in Egypt. But at the same time, as you know, that this range is not suitable with what the Egyptian cabinet talk and the procedures and the new rules they approved. They want from the foreign companies, from the Egyptians, the Arab companies, and so on, at the same time to inject many foreign direct investment in their in the Egyptian sectors, like industry, for example, like real estate and banking sectors, and so on.
Right. How important is it to grant incentives to those industrial projects, and what could be the effects by this type of empowerment and enforcement to those projects according to the investment sector as a whole?
Of course, as you know that now the countries are in a competition to attract foreign direct investment during this economic crisis, especially after the eruptions of war between Russia and Ukraine. This is on one hand, and at the same time, as you know, that the world, not only the European countries, for example, are suffering from the repercussions of the world economic crisis, and from the Russian Ukrainian war. So many foreign countries now are trying to search for a new sectors in other parts of the world, like the North Africa, like Egypt, like Asian countries. to continue in their work and their investment. And at the same time, as you know, that the foreign companies at the same time they are concentrating just now on some important sectors like energy, for example, like electricity and natural gas and so on. I mean that they are targeting investment in these sectors, especially in the other countries. This, of course, not to secure power and energy for European countries only, but at the same time to continue in their work. They are suffering from strikes, from demonstrations, and so on in the European countries. And now in Egypt, if we, according to the new rules, the Egyptian cabinet approved, and also at the same time, as you know, they can attract the foreign direct investment. They are searching for security, for stability, for energy powers, and so on. And at the same time, you know that with the increasing the foreign direct investment, this means creating new jobs and projects for the Egyptians, especially as we are trying to compete unemployment rate in Egypt.
Right. Talk to us about the importance of promoting those incentives and the innovative plan of giving incentives to industrial projects, and what are the types of incentives that would really affect empowerment?
Of course, as you know, the reality just now is that the incentives come to be in some forms like taxes, like income taxes, and like some exemptions from the other fees and so on. But now these incentives, as many countries are concentrating on it just now, it means to facilitate and to ease their work in the country they choose. The competition is not to give or to grant them some incentives, but to secure for them the stability and also the energy, electricity, and so on. This is the main element just now. And as you know, according to the World Bank report of doing business, for example, we can see that Egypt became in a high level concerning the stability, concerning securing energy and the power, electricity for the foreign companies and for the foreign investors. So I think Egypt, if continued in this incentives, they can attract more direct investment, especially after we reach to about 11 billion US dollars during the last fiscal year.
Right. How do you assess the efforts exerted by the government to effect incentives like that, to be able to empower the industrial zones in Egypt and the industrial sector in Egypt in general? As we know that Egypt have a history when it comes to industrial production. How far have we been renewing this particular history and this legacy in industrial sector?
Yeah, of course, as you know that Egypt approved years ago a new plan for industrial sectors and for investment in industry. As you know, they granted some incentives for the Arab, Egyptian, and the foreign investors if they are working in Upper Egypt, for example. And this is one. On the other hand, as you know that they divided the provinces according to their industrial characteristics. Especially, for example, we are trying to offer some projects in natural sources in Upper Egypt, in Aswan, in the Golden Triangle, as you know, and at the same time the petrochemical industries in Suez Gulf or Suez Economic Zone, and also in Alexandria. This is on one hand. On the other hand, as you know that the Egyptian government, according to the state probabilities document, they will offer another project for the private sectors for sharing with the foreign companies and so on in many different industrial sectors, like spinning and weaving, like petrochemicals, like oil, and also in other sectors like transportations and so on. So Egypt now is opening its atmosphere, not only in industrial sectors, but in all other sectors, for sharing with the private sectors, of course, even if it is local private sectors or foreign direct investments. I think the main element for the Egyptian government in coming period is to give the full chance for the investors here in Egypt. They want to depend upon the private sectors in many other sectors, and at the same time they are aiming to save what they spent before on these sectors for the social safety net, like education, like health and for services like commodities and so on.
Right. What are the challenges, do you think, that might stand in the way towards developing with the industrial sector? I mean, particularly at this time with the pandemics and with the political situation worldwide and the military confrontation between Russia and Ukraine, and of course there is a must that Egypt and most of the countries in the region should depend on its real domestic industrial development, which is going to save us money and speed up with our economic development. But definitely there are challenges affected on us, just like every other country worldwide. So if you'd like to elaborate over those challenges.
Of course, this is, of course, as you know, that the repercussions of the Russian-Ukrainian war, for example, this is a chance, not only for Egypt, for the other countries, as you know, in the area, to exploit completely its natural resources. This is the first one. As you know, that the European countries are going again to the developed countries which owned natural resources, like North and the Middle African countries, for example. And since the crisis started in Europe, for example, they came to delegate for natural gas exporters, for electricity export, for oil export, and so on. But as you know, I think it is a chance for the African countries like Egypt, for example, is to develop and to exploit its natural resources, not to depend upon exporting the crude materials, but you have to fabricate it just now to get the most benefit from exporters and from its derivatives at the same time. This is in one. On the other hand, as you know, according to the Egyptian case, for example, as you know that you noticed during the last week, President Abdul al-Sisi launched the first industrial sectors in north coast of the Black Sand, how to exploit it and how to use it as or to make an additional value from its fabrications, not to export it as a crude or as a crude material, for example. This is a strategic industries for the European countries, especially in aerospace, in aeroplane, in other sectors, and so on. So, if we can exploit such industries and to manage to get the value added of this industry, I think it is a great benefit for the Egyptian economy.
Right. Mr. Abdul Latif Wahba, our economic analyst, would like to thank you so much talking to The Breakfast Show. You have a good day. And we're going to go to a short break and we'll come to continue The Breakfast Show, so stay with us.